This video is only superficially about UFOs, but before making this video, let me state outright that I absolutely despise and detest the tinfoil hat, um, alien nonsense that is absolutely all over the internet. I just detest it. 99.9% of it is trash and garbage. I know it, and if you don't know it, then you should certainly know better. However, since people ask me this all the time, are alien UFOs or spacecraft real? Of course they are. The Navy ones that had the electrostatic aura about them that were chased down by highly credible Navy pilots, and we have video for this. It's all over the internet. It's absolutely fascinating video. When they do an inversion on the color view of the craft that they're chasing, you can see the electrostatic aura that is actually about the craft. And I can actually say that I am an expert in field theory, whatever that means. It doesn't mean a whole lot. And I spend an enormous amount of time thinking about field theory. We have observances of two fundamental different types, of the ones that we can confirm that are true. In other words, like the Navy craft and some others. We have saucer-shaped craft, and we have other than saucer-shaped craft. This is undeniable. I'm not interested in, little green men talk and, tinfoil hat garbage. Let's just talk about hardcore, analytical, retroductive thought about advanced field theory and the only two modalities of so-called anti-gravity that are possible. And by analyzing this, at a very, I wanted to say retroductive, but a very logical fashion, excuse me there are only two methodologies of anti-grav, and I have three little prototypes, by the way. They're little parabolic force amplifiers. They have two quadrupolar magnets, and they have a flat coil and a watch battery and a copper reflector. Now these are little force amplifiers. They don't actually float off the ground or anything like that, but they're fun to lightly hold and gently drop towards the earth, and you actually feel this spongy effect. I've had various people hold them. They find them fascinating. I've only made 3 of them. I have 1 in safekeeping, 2 that I actually have. But let's just talk about the only 2 modalities whereby which anti-gravity is possible. Let's just be really analytical about it, because I don't know about you, and I don't watch UFO documentary stuff. I've watched like the Dr. Greer videos and some of the ones that are logical, analytical, rational. I just can't stand the tinfoil hat garbage, the science fiction trash. But I know anti-gravity is possible. So here's the only 2 types of, and I hate using the word even anti-gravity, the 2 types of anti-gravity that can exist. One is a parabolic force amplifier, and the other one is an inertial focus greater than the vector of acceleration. And these are actually very simple to explain. Let's go on to the first one, and that's based upon my little toy that uses 2 quadrupolar magnets. It doesn't float or anything like that. When you hold it, though, it's kind of fascinating to hold and to play with. It's a parabolic force amplifier. Everything in the universe, everything, without any exception, because anti-gravity doesn't have to be something science fiction-y or tinfoil hatty. Everything in the universe operates off of the right-hand rule. If you don't know what the right-hand rule is, look it up. Everything in the universe. And this means so-called anti-gravity must, definitionally, operate within the parameters of the right-hand rule. So, just as a house has a front door and a back door, there are 2 methodologies to achieving anti-gravity, okay? Neither one is actual propulsion. A propulsion would be like a chemical rocket, exerting a force greater than the acceleration of the vector of gravity. Yeah? Very crude. So neither one of them are propulsion in the conventional sense. Everything at the highest level of invention, including magnets and lasers, operate off of this neat word that starts with an F. Fields. So here's number one, a parabolic force amplifier that works in parallel to the vector of acceleration. The vector of acceleration would be any object. The vector of acceleration would be this roll of tape dropping towards the Earth, right? So relative to the vector of acceleration, what we're doing is we're amplifying the force, because two objects that are under mutual acceleration and accelerating towards the null point in counter space, not towards one another, a force is applied, field forces, a force is applied whereby which the acceleration vector is both nulled and with enough power reversed. So, because two mutually accelerating objects is not, gravity is not a force at all, it's an acceleration, increasing inertia and acceleration towards counter space of two mutual objects that are not accelerating towards each other. However, superficially that appears to be the case, but they're not. They're accelerating towards a null pressure point in counter space. So, and this would of course explain dish-shaped spacecraft. Yes, the real ones, the ones that have been recorded by the Navy, where these seasoned Navy pilots are going, oh my God, holy crap, this is fascinating, this is unbelievable, this is amazing. That would explain dish-shaped crafts, because the craft has to apply a parabolic force to the vector of acceleration. That's not big words or complicated. The vector of acceleration would be this roll of tape towards the Earth. That's the vector of acceleration, right? So the vector of acceleration, a parabolic force, because the points of mutual acceleration between the Earth and this roll of tape is not just one. It's parabolic because, you know, the Earth is spread out everywhere in all directions for quite a long ways, right? That's why it has to be parabolic, okay? That is methodology number one of anti-gravity. This is applying expertise in field theory, retroductive logic, and a sharp mind to defining anti-gravity. Number two, and this explains all other non-dish-shaped or non-parabolic shaped spacecraft. Also, too, the only other methodology for achieving so-called anti-gravity. That one would be inertial focused power greater than the vector of acceleration and inverse to the vector of acceleration in simplex. And other people have talked about this before, however, not so eloquently. That would be where you're creating an imaginary or false gravity well greater than the vector of acceleration. In other words, if this was my spacecraft and it's falling towards the Earth, what I'm doing is creating up here or up here, depending on my vector of travel, and creating a gravity well of acceleration that is far greater than the vector of acceleration. So this is the vector of acceleration. What I'm doing is creating a gravity well inverse to or directional proportional to wherever it is or whatever direction it is that I want to travel. And this could only be achieved by, I'm calling it a dazer, but Nikola Tesla's death ray is a dielectric or scalar wave weaponry. But referring to a dielectric amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. We got lasers and masers. I don't know if you know what a maser is, but it would be a dazer. It would be a point source that is directed or creates a false gravity well, focused to, just like a parabolic mirror, yeah? Say this is my spacecraft. Let's just ignore the parabolic shape of the spacecraft. We're actually creating a point source inverse to the vector of acceleration. So the inertial focus powers are greater than that. Equal to or greater, obviously if equal to, then you're going to hover. It has to be greater than that of the vector of acceleration, so you're creating a gravity well in the locus of desired direction of travel, either inverse to or to a different vector of where you're accelerating. And where you're accelerating, of course, is just two mutual objects accelerating towards not one another, but towards a null point in counter space. This, and I don't say this lightly in this video, those are the only two possible methodologies of anti-gravity. Increased force or creating a gravity well to the vector of acceleration. One is force amplification of a parabolic geometry craft, and the other one is creating a dielectric well, creating a false null pressure point. In other words, what you're doing is you're creating this massive null pressure point using dielectricity, yeah, at the vector of desired acceleration. And this would be aimable. We can actually see also, too, I don't know if you've ever seen, they're all over the internet, including YouTube. The craft in the Navy video, You can see the electrostatic aura shift. As the spacecraft shifts direction or stops, it stops at one point in the video, and it moves the other direction, you can see, look at it yourself very closely, frame by frame. You can see the electrostatic aura shift. And what that means is that the geometry of the dielectricity of the desired vector of acceleration is changed, just like aiming a laser in a different direction. Except it's not aiming a laser, it is aiming a dielectric device of incredible power at a specific point to the desired vector of travel. And those are the only two methodologies by which, understanding the right hand rule, understanding retroduction, understanding field theory, those are the only two methodologies by which whereby which anti-gravity would be possible. I can't stand all these superficial tinfoil hat science fiction garbage videos out there on UFOs and little green men. Anti-gravity is real. Everything operates off of the right-hand rule. If we were to apply logic, expertise in field theory, and retroductive analysis, we can come up with the answers to anti-gravity. And those are the only two methodologies by which it could be achieved. Can be achieved. I shouldn't say could be, but I was about to say already has been achieved by the military, but you and I both know that is already the truth. Whether that be reverse engineered technology or some nice deep thinking scientists who realized the same thing that I just got done telling you in this video decades ago. And then they built it. So whether it's backwards engineered or whether it's engineered through expertise of field theory, who really cares? But as I said in the prior video, all future amazing technology will be point source technology. It must, by definition, be point source technology. Everything that fascinates humanity are computers or laptops, cell phones, TVs, it's all powered by lasers and magnets. Holography, the next level up from current TV technology will be holography. You can't have holography without lasers of some type. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Have a lovely day. If you like this video, let me know. Click the link below, and have a lovely week.